Speedball Mike Bailey, I think you have like your own unique style for sure. When you see your name on a card, you know that match is going to be way different than all the matches presented. I've seen you in some incredible battles. I'd like to talk about how you developed your style because I think knowing nothing about who you are, and that's what's kind of the best thing about you being in AEW. There are some people that didn't know who you are, but immediately you start going into the kicks, you start going into the dives, you start going into the full thing, and they're all in. How did you develop that style?
So I'm going to take a very long detour for my answer, if you don't mind.
No.
But I talk a lot in like wrestling training and stuff about the danger of platitudes, right? And how it's very easy to give advice that is ultimately true, but also very obvious and impossible to apply. Like, I think be unique is one of the pieces of advice that is given very early on and often as professional wrestler. And unfortunately, that means absolutely nothing.
Right.
Just what do you do with that? What does be unique mean? How are you unique? Unique in what ways? Again, because pro wrestling is a very human thing, right? There, it can't be if you're entirely unique and no one can follow what you do, then what's the point? But it's been a lifelong and a career-long journey to figure out which parts of pro wrestling I need to really follow strictly, and which parts of pro wrestling I can just make my own, right? And that it took me 20 years of working in front of many, many different kinds of audiences, different sizes, different contexts, different cultures, different ways of filming it, different ways it was going to be consumed, and absorbing it all and noting, being mindful about every single little thing that works and every single little thing that doesn't, so that it could eventually just learn to replicate it and understand it. And what you see now, when you see Speedball Mike Bailey wrestle, you see a collection of the best moments of 20 years of pro wrestling, rules and principles applied, which, I mean, is a career-long journey for every single professional wrestler. And I'm glad that the version that you see in AEW right now is a very polished version of the, of the generic pro wrestler that Speedball Mike Bailey was at one point, and of the hyper creative mess that Speedball Mike Bailey was at one point, that eventually became a polished professional wrestler who is extremely consistent in terms of the quality of my performances that you see today in AEW.